This week on Heartland Highways, it's all about art.
First, the City of Effingham, Illinois is changing perspectives on art with a unique downtown sculpture tour.
Then it's off to Eastern Illinois University to learn more about High Art, a unique aerial arts group based out of Portland, Oregon.
Finally, we'll make a stop at Factory Art Studios in Sullivan, Illinois.
Don't go away, Heartland Highways starts right now.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Heartland Highways. I'm Kate Pleasant.
And I'm Lori Casey. Now, this week's show is about art, really all kinds of art, from paintings and sculptures to everything in between.
And for the first story, we headed down to Effingham, Illinois, where the city is trying to sculpt new perspectives on art through a unique downtown tour. Take a look. Effingham, Illinois is what you might call an art-friendly community. The entire downtown area has been transformed into its own unique canvas that plays host to around 30 sculptures from local and Midwest artists.
In 1997, the City of Effingham commissioned the Flame of Hope, which is really the focal point of our sculpture on the Avenue program. It sits right outside City Hall. It's a very prominent piece, and from that there was a group of art lovers in our community who decided to do a little more with the project, and they created this it's basically a walking tour of the sculptures. Currently there are 31 sculptures on the walking tour, and then off the tour area businesses we also have about 10 other pieces. So there's about 40 pieces in our community. It starts at City Hall, which is located at Jefferson and 3rd Street here in Effingham across from the historic courthouse. We start out with the Flame of Hope. We actually provide these culture guides that give you a map and tell you about the pieces. They'll wind you in and out of our downtown area, and you'll see a lot of great pieces, both from local artists but also from artists throughout the region.
But what makes this small town so art-friendly?
Like the Effingham Art Guild, we have FACE, we have lots of artists in our area, we have the Effingham Performance Center. So there's a lot of different types of arts you'll explore in our community, everything from visual arts to performing arts, and it's just, like I said, for some reason our community has really built itself as an art-friendly community.
Each year, new pieces are debuted in the Sculptures on the Avenues program, making for an ever-changing display.
If you've come before, that doesn't necessarily mean you've already seen them all. Actually in April now, we have the Effingham Artisan Fair, and at that time we put our new pieces on and we take our old pieces off, and then we have some that are permanent pieces. So it's kind of a nice mixture of stuff that's been in our community for the past 13 or so years, and then also the new pieces.
The walking tour takes about an hour and covers a 5x4 block area of downtown.
If you just go around the courthouse, though, you'll see a lot of great pieces. We have a lot of bus groups that come to town to do our walking tour, and it's becoming more and more popular with art classes in the area. So we have a lot of art teachers who bring students of all ages downtown and take them around the tour to show them different styles of art.
And there are plenty of styles to see. Everything from wood to metal, and a variety of eye-catching pieces, all stationed on corners and outside of local businesses.
You'll see a little bit of everything. You'll see some abstract pieces. You'll see like I said, all different types of pieces. Gail Chavanel is probably one of our most popular artists, and she has 4 pieces that are on the historic courthouse lawn. And they're very bright and colorful pieces, and they have great messages in with them. We also have local artists, Pam and Tim Fry, and they have several pieces that represent different parts of their art. And then we also have Earl Moeller, who's a local resident, and he's been doing pieces since the collection started, so you'll see quite a few of his pieces. The rotating pieces, though, we go out every year and we ask for requests from our database of artists. They'll send in pictures and slides and things of the sort, and then we pick out the ones that we think fit our community best, fit the purpose of the project best, but also show an array of artwork. We don't want too much of the same thing, and make sure we meet, like I said, meet all the different types of sculptures out there. They are for sale, and if anybody's interested in purchasing one, they can contact City Hall or contact us at the Visitor Center, and we'll put them in direct contact with the artist.
All of the pieces are pictured in a guide you can get from City Hall or the tourism office. This guide includes a map and information about not only the sculptures and their artists, but other things to do in Effingham as well.
We get bus tours from all over the region. You know, it's a lot of day trippers come here for their bus tours, and they include that as part of the package. It's great for tour groups because if you're interested in art, you can go on. We actually provide a guide where you can take your guide, and a guide will take you around town. Or if you want to do it on your own, you can get the book and do it on your own. Or if you want to go shopping and see a piece here and there, you can do that too. The pieces are, like I said, in our downtown areas. We have all of our great unique shops right there by the pieces. So for people who are more interested in shopping, they can do a little of both. They can get some art and then also do their shopping.
The art pieces also extend outside of downtown, so keep a sharp eye out for those pieces all over Effingham.
We also have our art guild that has art up all around our community. So for instance, if you come to Effingham City Hall or to Joe's Sipper Cafe or to a couple of the different offices in our community or the Effingham Performance Center, you're going to see pieces of local art from different people in our community. So really, you'll see a little bit of art when you peek in and out of businesses throughout our community.
The community support is part of what makes the Sculptures on the Avenues program unique. Effingham's art-friendly approach, coupled with their willingness to make the art interactive with the community, is part of what makes their program so special.
There's not too many places in central Illinois where you can go and see sculptures. I mean, you know, we are fortunate enough to be located between St. Louis and Indianapolis and Chicago, and of course each of those cities have great art in them. But to come to Midwest, you know, come to central Illinois, it's not every day you come into a place where you're going to see a sculpture gallery in someone's downtown. So we feel like that the sculptures turn our downtown into an outdoor exhibition every year, and each year it changes and each year it's different. We have residents who look forward every year to the new sculptures coming out. We also have a voting process, so if you come and look at it, we have cards available and you can vote for your favorite sculpture. And at the end of the year, we tally up the votes, and the winner actually receives an award and then a stipend to go along with it. So we do have a lot of fun seeing who's voting for what and what's popular, and the residents who are involved with the arts, they really look forward and anticipate all the new pieces going up. And when the pieces do change over, you will hear some talk in the community, did you see this one? Or, oh, have you seen that one? And they've definitely changed. And some people love parts of them, you know, some of them they love, some of them's not their taste. It's just, it really, like I said, no matter what your taste in art is, there's a great variety out there.
For this next story, we spent a few days with a group known as Pendulum Aerial Arts, a Portland-based group who combines the artistry of dance with the athleticism of aerial acrobatics and gymnastics. In the summer of 2011, they came to Eastern Illinois University, where we had a backstage pass to see what goes into putting on a show called High Art.
They move high above the stage with grace and elegance, telling a story about a journey through life. The show, named High Art, came to Eastern Illinois University in August of 2011. This was a first for both Eastern and Pendulum Aerial Arts. Performed in the theater at the Doudna Fine Arts Center, this was the first time a show in which the actors would perform mainly above the stage rather than on it. And for Pendulum, this was their first full stage performance on the road. Months of planning and preparation came together 2 days before the public show. First and most important was the rigging and testing of the trapeze and silks from which the artist would be suspended. Blocking, lighting, and sound run-throughs were tested and revamped until it was just right. Suzanne Kenny, founder and artistic director of Pendulum, comes from a background in acting and dance. Her first introduction to aerial work came when she auditioned and got a part in A Midsummer Night's Dream.
They cast all of the fairies in the air, and I had never done anything. And I remember the audition where I had to figure out how to get up onto a trapeze bar and this and that. And anyway, I think I actually got the part because I could actually talk, and most of the other people there were just strictly dancers. So from there, I absolutely fell in love with it. We did just some small, very simple phrases on the trapeze, and I worked on an apparatus called a sling. And after we did that show, another person who had been in the show, someone named Mike Barber, we bought the equipment and we started our own company. And it was the first aerial, we called it Aerial Dance at that time, the first aerial dance company in Portland, Oregon.
And when was that roughly?
1996, 16 years ago. So from there, I was co-directed that company for 4 years. And then in 2000, I founded Pendulum, and Mike and I went our separate ways. And I've had Pendulum for the last almost 12 years now.
The beauty of aerial arts is in part to how effortless the performers can make it look. And while it may look simply like dancing in the air, the type of conditioning required for this type of performance is extensive. Not to mention, one needs to have no fear of heights.
It's a totally different set of muscles and strength training that you need to do to be able to accomplish it and make it look effortless, which is what we do. When people see our shows, they go, oh, you know, I could do that. That looks, and it's very humbling when you come in to even see what it feels like to support your own body weight underneath a trapeze bar and just hold yourself. That's how my first audition was. The choreographer said, hold the trapeze bar and bend your knees and hold yourself up off the ground. And I'm going to count how long you can do that. And I was able to do it for 45 seconds. And that was longer than anyone else in the audition. But that is nothing, you know, so it is, and also I would say aerial work, and it's like dancing. You don't go on point your first month. It's a process. You know, you have years of training to be able to get to that point. And I say that it takes 3 years from the time someone begins till they're really amazing and flawless, and it's very organic for them to move in the air and also be able to do a character.
For Suzanne, aerial work is more than just a feat of athleticism. It's a way of telling a story using the human form.
The thing that interests me the most as a person and as an artist is human relationships. I find they're difficult and yet interesting and multi-layered. And so a lot of my work is sort of semi-autobiographical. Obviously, you know, that's just sort of how it works when you're an artist. It's kind of cathartic and you want to get, you know, things out, you know, stories out. And I would say that for high art, it really is a culmination of, you know, 15 years of work. And really having because most of the people in my company have come through my school and they're at such a high level technically that we were able to do a show of this caliber.
High art is Suzanne's vision come to life. The show is described as a personal odyssey inspired by great works of art.
And so I knew the story that I wanted to tell. It's basically the story of someone's life. They're born, then they come in and they see all of the things like the Garden of Earthly Delights by Bosch, shows like the good and the bad. And what we did, because it's a tableau of 3 canvases, we chose to show the nice part of it because it can be kind of, you know, it's very dark. You know, and then from there it kind of skips to a mother and a daughter, and you know, the child wanting to grow up and separate. So we have the mother-daughter scene. And I worked with another girl who worked in my company who was an art major, and so you know we collaborated together. Like I had the story in my head, and then she would go, oh well, what about that painting, or what about that? And I told her the artists that I love Picasso and I love Dali, you know. And so we together chose the art. And I also wanted it to be accessible to people and not have them be necessarily obscure, you know, artists, because we do have an educational component and I feel like it is a very good tool to you know, it's very interesting to find a piece of art and then act it out through, you know, through the body and through a story.
Suzanne also performs in the show with her longtime dance partner, Luis Torres. Their piece, called Kissing, is inspired by one of her favorite artists, Gustav Klimt.
We actually have been doing this act longer than High Art, but when we were going to do the show, I said, oh my God, I could have actually done a whole show with just Klimt. But our act, it is kissing. I mean, when you see it, that's what it's romantic. It's a story, a love story of two people. So that's sort of been the signature, you know, component of the show. Well, I absolutely love art, and I've always considered, I'm amazed at the human body and what it can do. And to me, it's like, I'm the artist, I'm the creator, and then all of my dancers are the art, and they fill in the canvas for me, because it makes me very emotional to talk about. They're also, you know, they contribute so much artistically. Like, I will give a concept and I let them go with it. And in my company, there is, you know, I am the concept person, but everybody gets to be creative, which is, I think, very unique for most companies, because it's usually one person at the helm doing all the choreography, and it gets kind of narrow. So I feel like what's really rich about this show is the artistic contribution that each of the artists has made. And the whole story of High Art is that, you know, it's like from Adam and Eve through the Garden of Earthly Delights, all through life, you have your ups and downs, but in the end you can stay together. So that's the hope, and that you ascend to a higher place. So it has a nice happy ending, which in life, things are kind of rough out there. So I really like being able to give people that also, that they can go out of the theater and be like, wow, I just saw something really beautiful, and forget about what's going on in the world.
Stay connected with Heartland Highways at WEIU.net. You'll find us under the Television tab. Learn more about upcoming episodes and get contact information for the people and places featured on the show, as well as past seasons. You can also connect with us through YouTube and Facebook. For our final story, we headed to a place in Sullivan, Illinois that is honestly not like any other place I've seen on this show. It started with one guy who wanted some space for an art studio. Well, on Heartland Highways, we always talk about hobbies and crafts and things like that kind of taking on a life of their own. This place is no exception. Sometimes a simple idea can turn into something unexpected. And that's exactly what happened for John McDevitt of Sullivan, Illinois. John started on a quest for a simple workshop space for his furniture studio, Yellow Dog Studios, in 2008. Well, he found a space, and so much more.
I think it was 2009, we did our first group art show. Did an art show together with a friend who was a paint artist. And we invited the public, and we got a great response. And we decided from that point on we were going to do more group art shows. And it was such a great building. And people fell in love with it, artists fell in love with it, and the more shows we did, the better response we got, the more people saw it. And in 2009, Mark came in and put his shop in, and he was the second studio on the floor. And we worked our way up to 20 different artists on the floor now.
The floor John's referring to is the second story of an old factory that John's family actually used to work in. He even put a desk in his studio right in the same place where his father and grandfather used to stand and work back when the building was still a working factory on that floor. And the Mark John was talking about is his friend who became the second artist to inhabit the now appropriately titled Factory Art Studios. But as I said, this all started with a simple idea.
It wasn't a master plan that I expand this floor and we bring in all these artists, but those artists fell in love with it and they said, is there space available? Can we do this? And when Mark decided to come in and put his shop in, he recruited or talked to another artist who came in and put a shop next to him. And at that point, I think is when we said, okay, now we have something special. Let's actively recruit. Let's go out in the community, find the artists that are there.
Now, 20 artists later, the Factory Art Studios has become a unique community fixture that has no problem drawing in the curious and inspired.
I mean, how can you, as I've said before, not fall in love with this place? The floors, the walls, and everything else.
There's so many things to like about this place. One, just the general atmosphere. It's pretty laid back. It's usually pretty quiet in here, but a lot of people have a lot of interest in it, so that helps out a lot. And like, there's so many people here that you can just kind of bounce ideas off, and it's really inspiring.
I like just how individual each space feels to the person and to their product and their brand line, and just it's so comfortable here, and everybody's just so nice and down to earth.
I usually call this place the hive. When everybody's here, it just buzzes. Everyone's working, everyone's talking, and it's really a creative and conducive environment to work at.
We have quite a few kinds of arts right now. We have woodworking, scroll art, metalwork, vintage fabrics, ceramics, painting, sketching, muralists, folk art, jewelry.
A great bunch of people too. And the whole thing is, they're all just not from one Sullivan. They're from the area. We have somebody from Monticello down here. We have people from Arthur. We have people from Bethany, Lovington, you know, Mattoon, Illinois, and that's the whole thing. But you know, John and I will, I'll go out these different festivals and stuff, and I'll see something, and I'll bring it back and present it to John about, you know, what do you think about this person, you know, and what they do, and he does the same thing. And some of them, as soon as we saw it, we decided, yeah, we got to have them in here because they would go good in here. So, and we do have a waiting list now.
That waiting list is a result of artists falling in love with the space, as the guys mentioned earlier. The untouched rawness seems to be what both artists and visitors alike enjoy.
It's still very raw, and I think that's done on purpose. You know, we like that look. We want it to have that recycled feel. We want that to inspire people, and people look at it and think, you know what, I think I could actually do that. And we don't do things that are impossible for other people to do. So I think in that sense it inspires people to do their own thing as well.
A lot of the people who come in here is the old wow factor. As soon as they step around the corner, they go, whoa, I didn't know this was here. A lot of the people, let alone in this town, don't know what's actually up here.
It is completely unexpected. It is a, what, 80, 90-year-old brick factory. And you walk in the doors, you walk up the stairway, and surprise, it's completely unexpected. It's something you don't see. It's something you don't see in a lot of places. It's not just rural Illinois. You don't see this type of thing with working studios and galleries and shops all in one place like this, where you're going to walk in and watch somebody work or talk to them about what they're working on, or watch them put a lamp together or make a table or paint a picture. I mean, you don't have that opportunity in that many places. So it's unique, like I said, not just to this area, but to the country.
What's also unique about the factory is that it isn't the typical elevator music, white-walled gallery, as Mark would say.
We've done this on purpose, but it's not a stuffy, sterile, cold gallery. It's a warm place that people feel like they can sit on the furniture, they can sit down and have a cup of coffee, they can bring their lunch and sit at a table and just hang out, come up, read a book. It's a comfortable place, and we want people to feel that way. Even if you walk up the stairs and you don't intend on buying a piece of art, come up, hang out, see what we're doing, just absorb the place.
Well, yeah, we get tired of talking to each other, so we like new faces.
Well, Lori, that wraps up our art extravaganza for this week.
Thanks for watching, and if you want more information on the stories you've seen, just visit our website at weiu.net under the television tab.
We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
If you'd like to purchase a copy of any Heartland Highways program, contact us at 1-877-727-9348 during regular business hours. You can also visit our online store at weiu.net or mail your order with payment to the address on your screen. DVDs are available for $25 each.
I forgot.
Oh my God. It's the first take of the first. It's going to be a long day.
Yeah, okay. One take wonder child. As long as she doesn't look like she's about to hug me.